Alright guys, so today I figured I'll make a video on the ambitious card routine. Um, I made one a while ago for this trick, but the video itself was actually kind of bad, so I figured I'll make a revamp tutorial of it. I know most of you guys probably know what this trick is. I'm just going to assume that everybody here knows what it is, but for those of you who don't, this is probably one of the best tricks out there. So I highly recommend you guys learn it if you haven't seen this before. And anyways, here's what it looks like. So we can actually have the spectator just pick the cards face up. So let's say they pick the king of clubs, for example. So in reality, you don't even need to really shuffle the deck because the spectator is just going to pick the cards face up anyway. So now normally you could have them, sign the card, but I'm not in the mood to ruin this deck at the moment. So let's say we take this king of clubs. You guys will have to trust me. This is the only king in the deck, and all we have to do is stick it right into the middle of the deck, just like that. Snap the fingers, and your king will jump to the top. So look, if we take your king, you can put it back in the deck, and again, it will come to the top. So like I said, you guys will have to trust me. Look, once more, I'm going to actually riffle down the deck, and I'll place it right in the middle like this. And as you can see, it is about 26 or so cards deep within the deck. So you can see it's actually splitting the deck into two. Now what we're going to do is take your king, put it in the middle of this packet, and now put it into the middle of that packet. So technically your card is in the middle of the deck. So watch what happens. If we snap the fingers, your king is going to come right back to the top. Now once more, I'll push it forward. We'll leave it in the middle, and we're going to leave this packet off to the side. Now watch, if we stick your king back into this packet, snap our fingers, you can see this isn't the king. None of these cards are actually the king, because the king has now left this packet, is on top of that packet over there. So this is just my version of the ambitious card routine. This is kind of how I go about performing it. And if you guys want to see how it's done, don't forget to stick around for the tutorial. Alright guys, so here's how you can do the trick. So as you can see, the performance is actually kind of long. This trick can be lengthy at times. So the whole idea of this is that every single time that you bring their card to the top, you kind of want it to be, more effective than the last time, or a bolder move than the time you did it before, because you don't want it to be repetitive. That would probably be the most boring thing if you just keep seeing, if the spectator keeps seeing the same trick over and over again. That would get pretty boring. So, try to mix up your patter a little bit and keep the trick interesting. So, to start off, this is a completely impromptu trick. If you want, you can have the spectator shuffle it, but it doesn't matter, like I said, because you're just gonna pick the cards face up anyway, so it doesn't even matter about that. So let's say we get right into the spectator. They pick the card. In this case, they pick the four hearts. It doesn't matter. Now, the cool thing about this is that you can do it with a signed card. So that just makes the effect just a little bit better. So if you're really not worried about screwing up your deck, have the card signed. But if not, you can still do the trick. So let's say we have this four of hearts signed. The first thing that you do is you tell the spectator that you're going to lose their card in the middle of the deck. Now, the first thing that I do is the Marlo Tilt. I do have a tutorial for that, so check out the link up here. And then, I'm not going to be going over it in this video because then it would get too long. But you do the Marlo Tilt at first. Okay, so you make the illusion that you're putting the card in the middle, and the spectator thinks their card is, somewhere, within this deck, and you snap your fingers. And, it's actually better to have the spectators snap their fingers, because it kind of gives them, it kind of makes them feel that they're more involved with the trick. So you can have the spectators snap their fingers, and all you do is a double lift. So I do have a tutorial for that as well. Check that out. So you do the first double lift. Okay, now you have the four of hearts on top. And this is a pretty big moment, because the spectators obviously thought their card was in the middle. So now that it's on top, you can just, flip that double packet over, and now you're going to place the indifferent card, whatever random card is on top, and you say, look, all I have to do is, again, put your card back in the middle. So what I like to do is open up the deck with my thumb on the left side, because this is kind of similar to how you put the card in with the Marlo Tilt. So you kind of just keep it consistent. So you say, look, if I just stick your card back in the middle again, square it up, and then just like that, you're set up nicely and you have the card right on top. So again, this is another awesome moment for the spectator, because they see their card jumping to the top of the deck. And now you could also bring up that, now they've signed their card, they've made a special connection to it. I've seen that trick before like that as well, so you can just kind of mix up your pattern if you want. And at this point, you're going to move into the third stage of the trick. And this is just where you're going to take your card and you're just going to riffle down the side of the deck and tell the spectators that you're going to now leave your card or their card right in the middle. So this is nice and visual, as the spectators can actually see you putting the card in the middle. And then what you're going to do is you're going to spread off the top half of the deck and say, okay, so it looks like your card is about 26 cards or so deep in the deck. And now what this does is it gives you an excuse to fan over the top cards. So you're just spreading the top pile over. And as you're saying, your card is 26 cards or so deep in the deck, and you can lift it up like this so the spectators can see it. And now what you're doing is you're basically just counting off 2 cards on top of their selection. So here's their card, okay, that 4, and that's out jogged. And now what you want is you want to get 2 cards above it. So that would be 2 cards above theirs. And now all you have to do is when you square up this top packet, you're going to grab a pinky break above those cards. So you're squaring it up, and at the bottom your pinky just getting a break above those top 2 cards, and then you square up the rest of the deck, and now what you have is a pinky break right above those top 2 cards and the selection. So at this point you're going to do a wrist kill, and you're going to show just the faces of the cards to the spectator, and you're going to say that you're going to take the top half of the deck, but in reality you're just taking the cards from the break. So you're doing a wrist kill. Okay, now because the camera angle is kind of pointed upwards for me, it's kind of an exaggerated wrist kill, but to the spectators it's just going to be straight ahead like this. So it'll be easier for you guys to just show the spectators the faces of the cards and then taking the top half of the deck straight from the break. So you're taking it from the break, lifting it up, and to the spectators they think that the 4 is on top here, but in reality you actually have these 2 cards. So you do the wrist kill, take off the top half, push their card over. In the same process you're going to flip your left hand back over, so it looks like here is the 4 of hearts. So in a smooth motion, this is what everything should look like. So let's say you've taken off the top half, you're fanning it over the spectators, showing them the faces, push it down, and at the same time at the end you're going to push over the top card. So it's a really smooth motion. And now at this point the spectator thinks this is their card, and you say, look, I'm going to put it in the middle of this packet. So now you're just going to put it over in that packet that you had in middle grip in your right hand, and then you can open up the left packet and stick everything inside and square everything up. So it's a little bit confusing, but that isn't really the hardest part of the trick. And anyways, at this point you can have the spectators snap their fingers, and then again you flip it over. You can see now their 4 is on top. And then once you flip this double over again, all you have to do is push forward the top card and say, look, we'll take your 4 again, but in this case it's just that random card. You're flipping it over again, and you want to be careful not to elevate this hand too much, because obviously they can see that face of the card if you do that. So at this point you're just elevating it, pushing it up, kind of have a downward angle so they can't see the face of that card, and you take out about half the deck like this, and you're going to put it all on top of that random card. So at this point the spectator thinks that their card is right there, and now all you have to do is actually riffle off a little bit of that top half like this. So at this point you say, look, why don't you go ahead and just hold this packet for me, and you do it real casually, not a big deal. You don't even have to make eye contact with the spectator. Just say, you know what, go ahead and hold on to this for me, and you hand them over a packet of cards. They're not really thinking about it. Okay, but you still want to be able to leave some cards on top of this random one. So you hand over this packet to the spectator, and obviously their card is on top over here. So when you push this card in and you say, look, and you show them that this isn't their card, they get a little bit confused, and then you can actually go through this entire pack and show them that their selection isn't here, and then say, actually, you know what, check that packet that's in your hand. And now at this point the card is now jumped from this packet of cards to over here, and this is probably the best moment of the trick, just that very end, that last stage where the card really makes a big jump. And now this is kind of where I usually leave it, There, you can move into probably about one or two more stages of this trick, but for now I'm just going to be showing you guys these ones. This is kind of how I like to perform the ambitious card routine. I hope you guys like the video, and as always, thanks for watching.